Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Today is Monday, March 30th. You can tell it's Monday. I've got a tie on. It's Monday. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend and thanks for joining me today. A couple reminders and just some heads up about stuff. Make sure that you guys are taking advantage of that free breakfast and lunch up at the high school. So you go up there for lunch between 11 and 1. They will give you a free lunch for anybody that's 18 or younger, as well as a breakfast for tomorrow. You might even get to see some friendly faces up there. I know Mr. Ritchie's been doing a lot, as well as Mrs. Schaefer and Mr. Green, the middle school principal, has been up there quite a bit, and Mr. Johnson from the custodial staff. So you'll see a lot of friendly faces there as well. You can always message me on Dojo, get a hold of me. I love hearing from you guys. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. My email is up here, as well as my school extension. So if you just call the school and my extension's 128, I'll get it at home. I am trying to call everybody. So if I haven't talked to you yet, expect a phone call. I'm trying to get a hold of everybody. I almost got everybody rounded up. So I'll try to get a hold of everybody and then I'll start calling everybody again. So expect to hear those phone calls and make sure that you guys are being safe and staying home and protecting yourself and others. So, as far as academics go, taking a look up here, some thoughts. We've got math. Make sure you play some Prodigy. Some of you guys are doing a really good job with that. If you haven't, try to get in. If you're having trouble logging in to Prodigy down here, please send me a message and I'll get you guys logged in. I will also post a Kahoot today, so check that out. So play that Kahoot. You're welcome to play it. You can play against any family members or friends. You can kind of see how you're doing there. Make sure you put your name in so everybody can see how you guys are doing. Reading, we're going to do, make sure you guys are doing 20, 30 minutes of AR a day. So silent reading, make sure that you're reading. Take your time, find some books, and sit down and read for a little while. Spelling City, it's Monday, so log on to the next one and do some Spelling City. Any of the activities you want, just get some practice on the new words. Social studies, there's still a Kahoot posted. If you haven't done that one, it's on the Early Wisconsin Explorers. So if you haven't taken advantage of doing that one, give yourself a try. Feel free to play again with your family or friends or anybody else or siblings that are at home with you. Feel free to play along with them. Anybody can play. And I just wrapped up the Socrative in social studies, so you can take that one off. I just wrapped that up, so you don't have to worry about the Socrative. Okay. Writing, make sure you log into IXL. Give that a try. Do a few minutes of IXL in the writing. You can choose which category in writing, but do some of those as far as the English language arts part. And then make sure you guys are staying physically active. I know it was really crummy out yesterday, but it's supposed to get better this week. And so make sure you take some time to do something outside. Taking a look at our story. We left off last week on Friday. We've got we kind of left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger. If you remember, Shredderman sent out an email to everybody, and when he shows up to school, the police were there, the Channel 12 News was there, and from the graffiti on the wall, I knew the Tager had already been to shredderman.com. So Shredderman's trying to get some information about the Tager and try to figure out who he is. And so now we've got the next chapter. Chapter 11, Mistaken Identity. A giant purple dumb baby was sprayed on the back wall of the library. But it didn't just say duh in the talkie bubble. It said, I'm Shredderman, duh. Kids were swarming all around, talking 100 miles an hour. A lady with a Channel 12's microphone was spinning in circles trying to get interviews with third graders. What do you think of all this? She asked a blond boy with a bowl cut hair. The boy pulled a dumb baby face at the camera and said, duh. The Channel 12 News lady rolled her eyes, then waved her cameraman over to another little kid and tried again. What do you think of this, Shredder Man? She asked her. Shredder Man, the girl asked back. Oh, Shredder Man's cool. Yeah, totally cool, another girl said. The Channel 12 News lady shook her head and sighed, then struck her microphone in somebody else's face. I wanted to run up to the Channel 12 lady and say, wait, Shredder Man didn't do the graffiti. The Tager did. But I couldn't. I couldn't say anything because that would give me away. The teachers were all having some sort of powwow off to the side, and Dr. Voss was talking to the policeman, to Sergeant Clubb. I moved closer. I tried to act invisible. Actually, I'm good at being invisible, or at least that's what it feels like a lot. Like when you're picking teams, or when people are talking about sleepovers, or meeting in the park, or going to the movies. People don't seem to notice that I'm standing right there. So I got real close to Dr. Voss and Sarge, and I was listening away when a hand clamped down on my shoulder. Nolan! I jumped like a kangaroo, and then when I landed, there was my dad, smiling down at me. I'm sorry, Nolan. Didn't mean to startle you. My heart was pounding at least 165 beats a minute. My eyelids were cranked back probably 190 degrees. My whole body went from 98.6 Fahrenheit to sub-zero Celsius, like that. Dad leaned down and whispered, "Take a deep breath, son. Take a deep breath." I tried, but it's hard when your heart is racing and the rest of you is petrified. He laughed. You must have been concentrating on something pretty hard. Honestly, I wasn't trying to startle you. Finally, I blinked and said, hi, Dad. Surprised to see me at school? Uh-huh. Well, I got a call about the graffiti. He put his arm around my shoulders and moved us towards Sarge and Dr. Voss, looking at the graffiti the whole time. Shredder man, huh? He took a small spiral notebook out from his coat pocket. And all this time we've been calling him the Tagger. But he's not, I cried. I mean, he wasn't listening to me anyway. He was shaking hands with Sergeant Clubb, saying, "Hey, Billy, long time no see." Sergeant Clubb snorted. This punk's keeping busy, huh? Dr. Voss looked mad. She had her arms crossed at her hips or pulled tight. And I suppose now you're going to accuse my son of doing this? Look, Miss Voss, Sarge said. Dr. Voss to you, Sergeant. Sarge took a deep breath. Ma'am, we never accused your son of the other boys. We questioned of anything. We were simply looking for information. But the implication was clear. Sarge turned to my dad. Tell her, Stephen. Tell her about the tip. Dad nodded and tried not to look at me. It's true, Dr. Voss. An anonymous tip was left on my machine at the Gazette. She huffed and said, it was probably left by this shredder man. He seems to think we can do whatever he wants, just like all the delinquents. Shredder man? A delinquent? How could they even think that? Shredderman has fought for truth and justice. Shredderman was the good guy. Anyone who'd been on the site knew that. Things had gone from bad to worse at light speed, and before I could figure out how to stop something going 186,282 miles per second, Miss Barenheit, Miss Simmons, and a bunch of other teachers started shooing kids off to class. Didn't you hear the bell? Go, go, go. You're all going to be tardy. My dad ruffled my hair and said, have a good day, Nolan. See you tonight. Mr. Green caught up with me before I got in line outside of room 22. Nolan, he whispered. What were you thinking? I didn't spray that, I whispered back. I mean about the site. I got your email this morning. I shrugged. I was trying to make him mad. He laughed, but it wasn't a funny laugh. Well, you did a good job, and he sure turned the tables on you. I know. But how can people think Shredder Man did this? People jump to conclusions, Nolan. Well, tell them that he didn't do it. Me, he pointed to himself. I can't tell them. I'm the bouncer, remember? But, and the truth is, I'm feeling pretty uptight about all this. I'm not exactly Dr. Voss's favorite teacher to begin with, you know. I didn't know. But now that he said it, it did make sense. She was never very friendly to him, that's for sure. And she'd been pretty mean to him about his van. Kids were in line were starting to look around for him, so I said, don't worry, okay? I'll fix everything, I promise. He looked at me like my mom does when I tell her I know how to make my own lunch. Then he hurried to unlock the door. Chapter 12. Mom and Dad boot up. By the time I got home from school, I felt weaker than a mortal. Forget superpowers. I was like I was like Superman surrounded by kryptonite. What was I, what was I going to do? Dot. Mom took one look at me and said, "Honey, what's wrong?" I just sat down on the floor, backpack and all. She felt my forehead. "Are you coming down with something?" I shrugged, sighed, and lay down on the floor. "Nolan." She pulled me up. "Honey." "I'm okay, Mom," I finally said. "Just really tired." I was too. Superhero or not, 3 hours of sleep is not enough. She peeled off my shoes and dragged me to bed. "You get some sleep, young man." She felt my forehead again. "I'll check on you at dinner time." I must have snored through the time warp because I swear she never left. One minute she's sitting at the edge of my bed feeling my forehead saying, "You've got to get some sleep." And the next minute she's still on the edge of my bed feeling my forehead. But now she's saying, "Honey, honey, time to wake up." The smell of dinner was floating through the air. "Spaghetti?" I asked. "Lasagna." I sat up. "Really?" She laughed and said, "Feeling better?" I swung out of bed. "Lots." "Good. You had me a little worried." She added, "Your father is quite anxious to talk to you." Uh-oh. I stopped in my tracks. "About Shredder Man?" "About Shredder Man," she said. Double O. "Shredder Man," I said as innocently as I could. She shook her head. "Don't ask me. Never heard of the guy before." "Hi, Dad," I said when I sat down next to him at the table. "Nolan, there you are." He scooped up a big square lasagna onto his plate. "Your mom says you were wiped out when you got home from school." "I'm okay now." "Glad to hear it." He put some lasagna on my plate. "So tell me, what do you know about Shredder Man?" I shrugged. "Not much." He served Mom. "Well, I'm getting conflicting reports. Some of the kids at your school told me that he was trying to stop the Tager. Other kids say that he is the Tager." He frowned. "Dr. Voss seems to think he's an all-around menace, a wolf in sheep's clothing." "How come?" "Well, I don't know," he said. "She was pretty agitated state of mind. And when I tried to ask her about it, she complained a lot about the website of his." "A website?" My mouth was dry. My throat felt choked. "What if they went to the site and they could tell that I built it? What if they..." She called it a cry for attention. I almost jumped out of my chair and shouted, "No way. It's a call for truth and justice. It's an awesome site. How can she not like it?" But then I remembered the link to Bubba's big butt. Principals and teachers and parents are funny about butts and underwear and farts and burps and barf and BO and poop. They make being an adult seem really, really boring. "Nolan?" "Huh. Where were you just then?" my dad asked. I don't know. Daydreaming, I guess." "Well, I was asking, what do you know about this Shredder Man character?" That he's a good guy." "A good guy who sprays graffiti?" my mom asked. "He didn't spray it," I cried. "Oh," they both looked at me. Whoops. I tried smiling. At least I don't think he did. I think..." The phone rang. Phew. Dad said, "Sorry, Eve, but I've got to get it, just in case." We could hear him from over by Mom's desk. "Hello? Hey, Sarge." "Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Seriously?" "Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Is that spelled like it sounds?" "Got it. Okay. I'll be sure to check it out." "What was that about?" Mom asked as he hung up. "Sarge went to that website, shredderman.com. Says it's a riot." "So Shredderman's not the Tager?" my mom asked. "That's yet to be seen." He took a bite of lasagna. "But we'll get to the bottom of it." After dinner, Dad booted up Mom's computer and he typed in shredderman.com. Mom hung over his shoulder. I held my breath. All of a sudden, music blared from the speakers. Shredder Man streaked across the top of the screen in his purple mask and cape. The Shredder Man banner fluttered behind him. Then the bouncer boinged into view. He flexed his tattooed muscles, and one bicep popped up with truth, the other popped up with justice. My dad spotted the attention tagger link, and he clicked. After a few seconds later, he said, "Look at this, Eve. Shredder Man's not the tagger." My mom nodded. "But he sure is egging him on, don't you think? Calling him chicken and all?" My dad said. "But it does look like he meant well. Unless he's got a dark side." She glanced at my dad. "You know, like an alter ego?" My dad laughed. "A schizophrenic superhero?" "Steven, don't laugh. They're all a little that way. When you think about it, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, they're all tortured inside, don't you think?" "Superman?" my dad asked. He was clicking on the jokes link now. "How is Superman tortured? He's got super strength, he's got x-ray vision, he can fly. Give me that kind of torture any day." "You're missing the whole point, Steven. He's tortured by his isolation. He's lonesome. They're all lonesome." "That doesn't mean that they have a dark side. That just means..." My mom cut him off. "You're telling me Batman doesn't have a dark side? You're telling me..." "Oh, Eve, for crying out loud. They're characters. Somebody made them up. Whoever this Shredder Man character is, he's real." He was scrolling through the jokes page and suddenly sat back and read, "What do you call a bully fire?" My mom leaned forward and read the screen. "A barbecue?" She looked at Dad. Dad looked at her. They both busted up. Dad turned to me and said, "This has got to be about Alvin Bixby, don't you think? How many Bubbas can there be?" I mumbled, "Looks like," and tried to breathe. Mom looked at me. "Have you visited this site before?" I shrugged. "I've heard about it." "Well, with all the trouble Alvin's caused you..." "Aha!" I laughed, pointing to the joke on the screen like I'd never seen it before. "Why run from a bully? He's got bubonic plague." I laughed again. "That's funny." Dad laughed too, but Mom said, "But Nolan, this site must belong to someone at your school, don't you think?" I shrugged again. "I've heard lots of kids say they think it's one of the teachers." Dad was clicking on the "what's big and fat and smells all over" link. I closed my eyes. I held my breath. He busted up. Bubba's big butt. "I don't think a teacher would have the nerve to put this on a website, do you?" "No," Mom said. "It's got to be a student. A pretty funny one, too." She turned to me. "Do you know any sixth graders who are really good at computers?" I tried to look innocent. "A lot of kids have their own website." Dad snapped his fingers. "Hey, I'll bet Sarge can find out who this site is registered to." "Good idea," Mom said. Triple O. I escaped to my room and just sat on the bed, trying to catch my breath. How long would it take before Mom and Dad found out who ShredderMan.com was registered to? And what would happen to me when they found out it was registered to them? And that's the end of the chapter. I hope you guys really enjoyed those chapters. Tune in tomorrow and we'll continue reading some more. But it's getting pretty interesting, right? So take a look at some of those math journal pages. Do a few more if you feel comfortable either working forward. If you don't, feel free to work back, but try to get some more of those done. Take a look at the list of suggestions that I had. Make sure you guys are reading at home. Make sure that you guys are taking some time to play outside and get some physical activity in as well. If you have any questions at all, please contact me. I love hearing from you guys. So if you have anything, any questions, just let me know. Hope you guys had a great weekend and continue and hopefully have a great week this week. And I look forward to hearing from you or seeing you. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you later.